We have breaking news on this Monday. Angel City FC announced the departure of head coach Becki Tweed. They have parted ways. Tweed will no longer be the head coach at Angel City moving forward. And this comes in the midst of an offseason after Angel City's GM has already been let go in Angela Hucles, and now Becki Tweed. Sandra, this is big news. There's a lot of changes happening. Give us the Sandra Bomb update on this. What's going on? What more do you know?
Well, first of all, I just want to say coaching at this level is you got to be built a certain type of way. Because I think, and we discuss a lot about players and player movement and how things happen there. But when you're in the head coach's position in this league, especially where we are now in the history of NWSL, it's not an easy seat to hold. It's not an easy title to keep. It's a results driven league, and I think even with expanded playoffs, that emphasis is even heavier than it was before. If you can't find yourself in the playoff race in an 8-team playoff picture when there are at this point just 14 teams in the league, there's going to be some question marks in an off season. I am high on Becki Tweed. I think that she's shown a lot of great stuff when we saw that playoff push for Angel City, where she was only given like a 10-week window to try to turn things around in 2023, and they broke through to the playoffs as a 6 seed. Chaos around decision day, and I think we were all excited to sort of see what was going to come about for Angel City with Tweed at the head of things, with an entire season in front of her to work with. And unfortunately, maybe this goes a little bit hand in hand with some of the executive moves, but the team is built with the guidance of sporting directors and general managers, and obviously head coaches have a role in making sure that the talent assembled on that roster goes out there and performs. But I would argue that maybe there were some areas of the pitch where this franchise needed to try to tighten some things up. And they found themselves dealing with another season where they kind of had to manage some injury along the way. But when you look at the wider landscape of the league, that could be any team that we're talking about. And for Angel City, in a year where they got docked points, in a year where executives were fined and suspended, in another year where the franchise was ultimately sold, that's going to signal a lot of new change. And so while it's not baffling to me, but at the same time, it's not super surprising that with all of those things combined, unfortunately, Becki Tweed finds herself now out at Angel City.
Becki Tweed was not at Angel City that long, as you mentioned, Sandra. She came in as an interim, and then ultimately in 2023, after being an interim, was a candidate for Coach of the Year. She became the official head coach just this past season in 2024, and they really only gave her 1 year at the helm, a year with a lot of injuries, a lot of changes. They went through ownership changes as well. But across the NWSL landscape now, Christine, this is another coaching vacancy. Angel City now, San Diego Wave, yep. Houston Dash, they have a vacancy. I believe that's it. Correct me if I'm wrong, because Utah hired Jimmy Coonrotz, right? He's the full-time
officially.
Coach. Rob
and
Gale
he definitely earned that shift from interim. Yep.
Yeah, so this is now another big hole in coaching in NWSL.
Definitely going to be California dreaming. It shouldn't be hard to fill these vacancies at these clubs, but given the expectations, and I think, hey, you know what, like Becki Tweed was great. Well, she was great for Angel City. I understand the disappointment. Also, new ownership coming in with those record-breaking valuations. You're going to see a bigger expectation heaved upon them. Playoffs are a big deal as the league continues to expand. They need to continue to grow and be able to create revenue. And so, you know, maybe the next coach won't be in the Gotham FC pipeline. I feel like the transition there has been great. I wish that we would see more Casey Stoney back in the league, but I feel like maybe she's got a bad taste in her mouth given everything that transpired with the San Diego Wave. San Diego Wave are another project that I have big fat question marks floating around because they haven't made a single correct move since her firing, if you want to consider that a correct move. Angel City, with all of the star power behind them, I think that also creates an expectation. So, I mean, with everything that's transpired this season, both front office and on field, it's time to reinvigorate the club and see what you can do coming into the season. But I don't know how many really solid candidates are floating around right now in the job market that I can think of off the top of my head. Obviously, we threw around a lot Twyla. I think that Twyla Kilgore would still be a great appointment. I just don't know where I'd plug and play her. I don't think I'd condemn her to, say, Houston, where, Fran Alonso wanted to leave just about as soon as he got there.
Yeah, I think Twyla Kilgore is a really good shout. She has departed from U.S. soccer, which leaves her available and open to coach in the NWSL. Casey Stoney, to me, is a very qualified candidate. She has coached in the league before. She understands it. I think that maybe not right now, but next year, Adrian Gonzalez.
I'd give her the job yesterday, Lisa,
That's
if I could.
Yeah, I like
Adrian
that.
Gonzalez is a really good shout. I don't think he'll leave Jonathan Giraldez this year, but he led Washington Spirit as the head coach for half of the season, dealing with injuries and changes and laying the foundation for what Jonah Giraldez wanted to build at Washington. So to me, that's a good shout. You like that one, Sandra? Any
I
others?
like Adrian Gonzalez. I thought, listen, if we've had examples of coaches getting a half season, doing cool things, and then being given a head coaching opportunity in NWSL. We've seen it. We have some history to go off. We saw it with Juan Carlos Amaros. We saw it with Becki Tweed. I wouldn't be shocked if Angel City maybe gets on the phone to talk to Adrian Gonzalez.
Okay, what about Landon Donovan then? If we're going with had half a season and didn't do horribly.
He did horribly. What are you talking about?
He did not do well.
You should. I should flip the script and say, why do you think he didn't do horribly? What made?
Yeah, where did that come? Did you just glitch? Are you good?
She's over here.
I immediately asked the question and went like this because I knew it was bizarre. But hey, you have to throw his name out there because why? You could also throw. Have you seen the way that this league hires coaches? They don't care.
I do see the way that this. I see the way, but completely respectfully, for any other NWSL team to give Landon Donovan a job is purely because he's Landon Donovan the player, not Landon Donovan the coach.
That
he
has not
threw so many ideas at that San Diego Wave team that it was impossible for them to actually acclimate to any sort of a tactic, if we can call them tactics. If you want to play hoof it and run ball, fine.
Okay, but Kristen, while I have you fired up, what about Jonas Edval?
I don't know that Jonas would acclimate to the style of play for NWSL. It's highly transitional.
As I think said before, that hasn't stopped the NWSL from hiring coaches that don't know the style.
Put me in charge of hiring. I'll find a coach. Okay. I just, again, yes, the door is always open to these possibilities. And I'd be far more comfortable if you want to do a thought experiment and plug and play with Jonas at an NWSL team because he has the experience and the desire to specifically coach a women's team to success. However, I think we need to start looking more, and this isn't saying that every player is a great coach, but start looking at some of the former women players, not just the men, and also get some more diversity in there. We had Seb Hines, who was a great example of an interim to full-time manager who had the patience, time, and quite frankly, the skill to get the best out of this Orlando team. And he's the first Black coach in the league to do it. There are others, I promise you.
I mean, look, if we're throwing names out, they just won a championship. Yolanda Thomas, Seb Hines' assistant coach.
That's Thomas, why I say
there you go.
Thomas,
there you go.
Gonzalez, Stoney, Angel City. Go get on the phone with those
You
people.
could also argue, Sandra, that first assistants have been given this head coaching role before in the NWSL, and they haven't been able to live up to it. Scott Parkinson, right? He couldn't compete and went back to being a first assistant. Freya Coombe, she's now back to being a first assistant. A lot of changes. But this news broke today. We're only just scratching the surface on it. We will talk about it more and more. But, guys, we got to wrap up. Thanks for joining us. Angel City part ways with head coach Becki Tweed. That also comes after they've announced the parting of ways with general manager Angela Hukeles. It will be Ellery Earnshaw stepping in as the interim head coach for Angel City. She started as a performance analysis coach with Angel City in 2022. She then became an assistant and served as a first assistant in 2024. She will lead the way for Angel City in this offseason as they begin the full-time hiring process. Thanks, guys, for joining us. This was A3 One Shot. Thanks for rocking with us. If you like this, let us know. Follow us as a podcast anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. Watch us, youtube.com/attacking third, and on CBS Sports Golazo Network. And of course, anywhere you get your podcast, listen to us. Alongside Sandra, Christine, and for our producer, Mark, I'm Lisa. This was Attacking Third.